Morning guys, today we're going to be making masks for protection, and this is what my masks look like. Okay, so we will be making this mask, and it's really quick and really simple to make them. So what you need first is you need some fabric, obviously, and you're going to need some tape measure, scissors, obviously a sewing machine that I have on my left, and an iron. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our pattern, and this is my pattern. I used it out of, cut it out of paper so that I can have it and reuse it. So my pattern is 6 by 9. So this would be 9 and this would be 6. So once I have my pattern cut out, I can reuse it a lot of times. So I have my fabric. And I've already cut out one of them, and this is the wrong side and this is the right side. What you want is you want both right sides facing. So I'm gonna pin this and cut it at the same time. So I'm gonna pin it and then I can cut it and it'll be ready to sew. So once I put this on the right side like this, I'm gonna cut it. And then here I have one that's already made and cut out. This is what it should look like. And as you can see, it's on the opposite side, because once you sew it, you're going to turn it inside out. Okay, so now that it's like this, you're going to, before you sew it, you're going to have to put elastic on it. I ran out of elastic, so I'm going to be using ribbon just to show you what it will look like. So I would have some ribbon, and I'm going to cut my ribbon to be, which would be elastic, I'm sorry, to be 7 inches. So I would measure it 7 inches right there, and I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna make 2 of those. So now I have my 2 7-inch pieces of ribbon. Don't forget, I'm using this only as an example because I ran out of elastic. These should be elastic pieces. Okay, so once you have your elastic pieces, you are going to pin them inside. So I will take some of these pins out. We don't need them all. And remembering, this should be elastic. We are going to pin it on the inside like this. And the elastic I have, if you can see right here, is flat. If you use the round one, then it's pretty much the same thing, but I'm using this one for now. So my elastic is flat, so I would pin it right here. I'm holding it, and I'm going to close this up while I hold it close to the edge, because you're going to sew all the way around, but you still want it to be far enough that you don't get it when you're stitching through. So I would pin it here like this, and then I'm going to at the other end and make sure that it's the right side so that it doesn't twist, and I will pin it on this side also close to the edge again. Make it flat. And pin it again right here. And then I'm going to pin it in the middle just so that it doesn't fold on me or anything. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and remove this, remove this. Here you go. Open it up, pin it here. And I don't use exact measurements. I'm self-taught seamstress, so I just eyeball it more or less close to the edge. It usually turns out right. If not, you know, they still work, so it doesn't really matter. So, okay, and pin it, make sure it's straight, it's not tangled up. Close to the edge again. And I actually have some already made that look like this one exactly, so I can show you what they will look like when they're done. And it has the same exact fabric as this flag one. Okay, so once these are done, you are going to sew all the way around, and you will start the way I do it to be safe is I start on this end and I sew all the way around. I'm not going to sew this one because I don't have elastic, and I would sew all the way around all this. Once I get to this right here, after I get the sew the elastic on, I pick up my machine and I don't sew through this piece and this piece. So this would not be sewed right here, because once that is sewed up, you are going to turn it inside out. So you want to have a little gap so that you can open it and flip it around. And see, the elastic's there. Once that is done, you flip it inside out. And if I can find all my other ones that were halfway made, let me see, give me a sec. I do not know where it's placed at. Okay, I got it. Okay, here is one that I can show you that I've done that exactly. See how this piece is not sewed through, right? So now what I need to do is flip it around. And try to get your corners turned inside out so you can make it as flat as possible. And I will have to remove all the stuff in front of me. Will my little helper please move my things from here? Please remove everything. My daughters are helping me. Okay, everything please. Okay, it's not very difficult to flip them. Okay, you flip everything. Okay, usually what I like to do is, if my corners are not completely pulled out, sometimes it doesn't really matter, but I like to use a little pin because it grabs onto the fabric and you can pull it out, see? Just so they look better. And my camera girl is a little shaky. Sorry about that. Okay. Once they're flipped over like this, you're going to want to iron them. I have a towel I use here for support. And should be good enough to be flipped. And I will iron them flat. And I know that it's not sewed here, but you know, if you iron it flat and once you sew through here with the pleats, it should stay still. It should stay in place, I should say. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to need some pins. And I'm going to fold it down. And what you're going to try to do is keep the pleats about the same size. And you just pin it here. And then you pin it here, and all you need is two pleats, and you're done. So, well, let me see if that's straight. Sometimes it's hard to get these straight, but you know, as long as it works, it's good. It does not have to be perfect. It will still do its job. See? Like I said, I'm not a seamstress. I'm self-taught, so I do the best I can, and I'm just making these to donate to people in my area. And if I have any leftovers or find more elastic to make anymore, I'm going to try to donate them to hospitals or people like the first responders and stuff like that that need them. Okay, so once this is done, I iron it a little bit just to make sure it stays in place once I take off the pins after I sew it. Then I'm going to go to my machine. Sorry about the mess, guys. Okay. So my cameraman will zoom in, look closely. I'm just going to do a really quick job. So I'm just going to go right here, right on the edge. All we're doing is making sure that the pleats stay in place. And it's just a really simple cross stitch. Remove the pins as you're going. You don't want to break them or bend them. That side's done. And we're almost done. And we're done. I just need my scissors. These. And just cut off the excess string. And voila, we're done.